Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I'm your host, Josiah, aka Mahler67, and with me, as always, you know, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Not too bad.
That's what I like to hear, buddy. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
You have a good week? Do anything fun this week?
Yeah, I did actually. I went camping on Friday. That was pretty nice. Got to do all that, and then I came home yesterday and I texted you and was like, "Hey, are you do you have your game tonight?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I might just go to bed now." And then like I passed out like 7 because like I'm always down to play games. Like I love playing games. It's like my favorite thing. So like I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fall asleep." So I passed out at like 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up at like 3 in the morning. I was like, "Oh man, well, might as well just finish her off here." And I just like, went back to sleep and had to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Went camping. I got so much stuff going on here soon. Like I'm going out to Pittsburgh next weekend for a couple days. But like I'm going out Friday night. I'll be staying in Bell Vernon. And then Saturday I'm going to the Mothman Festival, and then Sunday I plan on hanging out in Pittsburgh for a little bit, and then we're gonna head home. Me and my buddy Brandon are going out to see Seth, and I wanted to see you. I made you a whole bunch of deer jerky, so I'm gonna bring that to you. I don't know, the first batch wasn't spicy enough for me, so hopefully the second batch is more spicy. I actually like the second batch more, but the first batch, it's okay. I might make some like changes to it because it's just dehydrated meat. So I'll probably put it in some hot sauce or something, or like something that's like hot a little bit, and then rehydrate it a minute, and then put it back in, dehydrate it. Because I like a little spice. And this, not really. I feel like the seasoning kit I used was like, hey, yeah, you like that taste, but it's very mild. So I was like, man, this kind of stinks. So I felt bad about it. So I'm gonna redo that. It'll give me something to do this week. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have planned coming up and stuff. So pretty much nothing else really.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
I got yeah, that's cool. I'll look forward to that next week. I basically spent the week playing Space Marine 2 with Jordan after work every now and then, until we had an issue that occurred. We had a very weird issue happen to the point where all of us were kind of creeped out a little bit. Me, Jordan, and Terry start playing together. In the middle of a cutscene, Jordan disconnects. He messaged us, "My computer crashed."
I saw that.
And me and Terry were like, "Huh, okay." It's like, I can't get it to reload. Well, that's weird. Me and Terry continue playing. The next cutscene, my computer crashes. Terry then messages the group, I just got off. That's like that's too scary, man. Like that doesn't feel right, man. But no, it was like weird. Like my computer crashed. There was like a Windows update that apparently didn't work. And so my I have 2 monitors. My second monitor wouldn't pick up. Like it was like my GPU wasn't like turning on or registering essentially. And then whenever I tried to like connect to my AMD software to like update my drives or whatnot, it's like, "Oh no, it's not, you're not compatible with this AMD." I'm like, "The heck I'm not. This is the same AMD I've had since it's been installed. I don't understand what you're doing here." And so like I started messing with it. I tried to find more updates, nothing was working, and then I just reset the settings. Found online, they're like, "Hey, if you're getting this, there could have been something go wrong. Re-download the drives and just basically like redo all that stuff." So I did that. It's been working since. There's some stuttering every now and then, but nothing like terrible. I haven't played Space Marine since then. I've played other games, just not Space Marine. But it was literally like it happened and we were like, what's going on? Like, what is Space Marines doing that caused 2 people to crash? And why is it the cutscenes that are doing it, not the gameplay? So yeah, that was weird. Other than that, had VTM this weekend. Did all that stuff. What can you do there? Made sloppy joes today, and that was based on our week. that's been my week. Nothing else significant. Oh, I did finish a TV show that I'm going to make you watch at some point, and you know when you watch something and then it ends and you suddenly realize it kind of like hit you harder than you realized?
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. Why has this wrecked my night? Like, why has this destroyed my like will to live? That's what happened in the show. Like, whenever it ended, I was kind of like, oh, why am I so like distraughtingly sad at this? Like, I'm just I wasn't ready for it. I'm like, I'm a wreck. I don't know what's up with this. And so I'm like, all right, well, anytime I get like this, the best thing I can do is watch Whose Line Is It Anyways to get out of this. And so I did that and just played games on my phone. But no, it was a really great series. It just was just caught me off guard with how much I guess I enjoyed it enough to be kind of like super depressed it ended. So it was good for me. But Austin, let's talk about a show that's just super depressed. And super nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Trinity Blood. The reason why I say it's super nostalgic for me, it's not because I've never watched the show. This is something you made me watch.
Yeah.
But it's the 2000, like early 2000 anime style. And you look at it and like your brain when you watch it is like, oh, it's like it's in the same area as like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Inuyasha, like those styles. And it just, yeah, it was weird watching it and just being like, it feels like I'm watching this as a kid again. Not again, but you get what I'm saying, like watching it as a kid.
Yeah.
It also made me laugh that like a couple of the scenes that are showing off right now, I guess this was like early situations where they like did like actual particle systems for effects sometimes. I don't know if they like recorded explosions and then they just overlaid it onto the animation, but it would just be funny. You would see an explosion, just be like, that looks like a real explosion that someone just like CG cropped into the game, into the show. And they did that a lot with some of the animations, like especially when I keep wanting to call him Alucard because that's what I think he is. When Abel would transform into his like super blood forms, they would stop like animating and they would just have him like fly like that around. It made me laugh, but like it was still solid. But yeah, Austin, what made you want me to watch Trinity Blood?
So actually, the only reason I ever watched this anime before was because of a Reddit feed thread that I actually read about, I think like 10 years ago.
Okay.
It was a Reddit feed that I read about the anime that plagiarized a lot of other animes. And the number one anime was Trinity Blood. And I was like, huh, what is this? So I started to watch it. And the only way that you could watch it, so this came out on Adult Swim. Okay. Toonami, Adult Swim.
Well, it's Funimation, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So, a lot of people consider this an anime that someone like, there's media that are like huge media, like movies and stuff that take things from certain things because they like the aspect of it. Like Terminator, for example, there was a whole Terminator lawsuit with the guy in the book. And he won the defamation case and he was put in the credits. The other thing is like Avatar. Avatar was considered like something that James Cameron took from another person's work. And they felt like Trinity Blood is that way. And why they say that is because Abel reminds a lot of people of Vash the Stampede, because how he acts, and then he's like this hidden badass. Like, so people at the time were like, this kind of resembles like Trigun. And I was like, I really want to see the difference of that, because I was like, really, is it such a ripoff? So I watched it and I was like, I like it. I was like, I have nothing wrong with it. I enjoy a good like story. The only thing that I will say about this, I'm not a fan of the main character. I like Abel, but I think the side characters are way better in this show. Like I like the side characters more.
I'll be honest with you, Austin. I don't think I actually liked any character in the show.
Really?
Now don't get me wrong. I think I had natural affinity for Abel because I'm a big fan of Trigun. I just personally felt like Vash was a much more likable character.
Correct.
Mainly because like Abel being like, I don't kill people, and then like it's like, bro, 5 episodes you've been murdering vampires left and right. Are vampires not people? Because that completely contradicts everything you say. And then that they'll be like, oh, you haven't been drinking the blood of the vampires. Like, then why does he say it every time he transforms? Like, I'm a Carsidic.
He's like, I just felt like I haven't watched this in a long time. So like going back and rewatching this is kind of a little interesting though, because I didn't really see the things that were going on that I realized, or, you know, and how story forms with anime. Like I've watched enough anime now where I'm like, okay, you can see that it's aged. You can see that. But the problem I have is like the beginning of the show, I really enjoy. I really like the atmosphere. I think some of the animation's really well done and detailed. But the rest of the story is like this bumble through this whole like cool atmosphere. It's like, hey, we like the stories just get a little convoluted here.
It feels like most, like, don't get me wrong, like I can see how people would like this, and I'm like, it's not bad. It's just a very C-rated show.
It's a plain Jane story. That's exactly what
it's like a C-rated show. And when you say like it kind of plagiarizes other things, or quote unquote plagiarizes, I can see that, because like the whole like he refuses to kill because he made a promise, like that's instantly Trigun. His outfit and like the outfit of the like special agents is very Castlevania like.
His goofiness is exactly like Vash.
Yeah,
you can't get past his goofiness.
But that's also a reoccurring, like
It
that's
is.
a trope, right? Yeah. And Vash was one of those people who kind of started it. I'm trying to think of another 90s show that was like that. Like I wouldn't really consider Inuyasha that way. He's kind of a jerk, and then he just does funny things occasionally.
Yeah,
but like,
well, maybe like Full Metal Alchemist in a way. Like,
nah, because Edward actually like presented himself with knowledge. Like he just was, unfortunately, like he didn't like people making fun of his shortness, and then he'd get mad. Yeah, exactly. What Prime's saying is exactly true. It's like it's not bad, but it's not like great. Like,
and the ending was so. The problem I had with the ending
made me so upset. I was like, the freak. That's where it ends. Like that's like. Trigun had a better ending than that, and Trigun's ending wasn't that great. Like, they at least made you feel satisfying in the
a lot of people actually think that this is in the same level ending as Inuyasha. Like a lot of people hated Inuyasha's ending.
I've never seen Inuyasha's ending.
I haven't either, so like I don't know, but what I've read on like most of the Reddit sites is like, this is Inuyasha, great story, all right, and then the ending comes and they try to tie up everything, but this one's bad, supposedly, like worse than Inuyasha. But like I did not like the ending where it was like, hey, you remember all those plot points? We're gonna finish them up right now. And it's like, wow, it was like an express lane at like a grocery store.
It wasn't even like an express lane. So like my biggest issue that I had with the show, I think the first 4 to 5 episodes were actually really strong, where you just saw the world and Abel was just basically traveling through it and then interacting with different people. I think it started becoming to me when they started trying to make like the overarching plot, because it just didn't make sense to me, right? Because like they're all like it's vampires versus humans, and you're like, oh, okay, so the Vatican kills all vampires, and they're like, oh, but not all vampires, because there's this country called Albion. They are ruled by an empress, and they have like a utopia inside the place. It's like, then why are we at war with the vampires? Like, oh, that place is not part of, like, that's the inner city. Like, everyone outside it, that's where all the bad stuff is. It's like, why are you making this thing? And then, like, they'll just spring it up in the very last episode. So, like, the Empress died. We gotta find the heir. Oh, the heir is this girl who has a star that we mentioned beforehand. The second that the person pointed out that she had a star, like birthmark or tattoo or whatever, like she's like, you have a weird tattoo, and she's like, it's a birthmark. I'm like, nope, I get it. Yep, Dipper. Yeah. Yep. She's going to be like either a real vampire, and she's going to have like latent powers, and she's like the queen of vampires, and she can get them to stop. Or it's going to be something where she's like, she's meant for something greater, and sure enough, meant for something greater.
Yeah, it was kind of funny when I was going back and like looking at anime that I've watched before. When I first started thinking about this, and then Trinity Blood hit my head because I was looking at anime that I wanted to watch. So there is an anime that I've been trying to watch forever, and it's supposedly like one of the like it's been running for a while. It's called like Japanese Horror Stories. And it's like or ghost stories. It's called Japanese Ghost Stories, and I've seen like the translation on Amazon, which is awful. Supposedly, it's like how they translate from English when they dub it. It's awful. It doesn't make sense.
You're talking about ghost stories, right? Just ghost stories. Yeah.
No, yeah. So like the one that I'm looking for is actually not the dub version, because I've heard like they're really good actually. Just the dub version of the American's just goofy.
It's because they were never given a script, and so they all just like improv'd it. But it's super like risque, almost borderline racist a lot of times.
Yes, it is.
And like, it's like what happened? Like it's basically if you took the one whose line is it anyways, get up of the whole of like improvise as this movie's kind of going. That's what they did.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just the biggest one that everyone remembers is just like the kid running, and he's just like, think that a big guy's behind you, like a big colored person's behind you, and the kid just runs the same. He's like, well, at least he's not racist. It's like, why did you guys even make like? and then like they had like the one priestess girl like constantly call the other girl a whore the whole time. Like,
oh yeah,
that was the joke between between the voice actors, and it's like, no, you can't do this. You can't do this.
Yeah, so like I was going back and like looking at anime that that like I could watch that was like kind of horror aspect anime, like horror. And like I was like, oh, that would really be cool, because I would like to watch something like that during the spooky seasons. That's what I like. Yeah. So Trinity Blood came up and I was like, why is that in the category? And then I was like, dude, that would be really funny. Get Josiah to watch it. He'll be all pumped that it's like a vampire anime, and then he'll be like, okay, this wasn't great. But that's the thing. I was like, well, let's just do this. So he's never watched it. Let's see what he thinks about it. And it was really funny when you said, oh yeah, it reminded me of watching as a kid, like, like Trigun. And I was like, oh man, I know he gets it. Like he's saying that he knows that this is kind of like, it's animation. Like I think this is a anime that I think that could be remodeled into something really good. So I've read up a lot about
they would really need to like package the story in a very different way, because the second that they had it, that the ending where it's revealed that vampires aren't really vampires, they just have like a bacteria in their body that basically makes them a vampire, and the bacteria was created for like a Mars settlement plan that they just kind of threw them in the middle of nowhere, and they're just like, all right, here it is.
Metachlorians.
Yeah, it's just metachlorians. When they did that, I'm like, that's something that you have to like explain in the very beginning, because you can't reveal that, because that does not explain the sun, right? Yeah, it's bat virus.
Yeah, it's like, oh, very good.
Man, I got COVID on purpose because I thought I was going to become a vampire, and then it didn't happen.
No, so read up after I watched the series. I read up on like, where did like Trinity Blood come from? So it's from a manga series.
Yeah.
The guy that wrote it was like, it was like showed in like kind of like a Japan magazine like in the 80s called, it was like Shonen Jump pretty much.
Yeah.
Where like it had like small snippets, but the guy died before he could finish like the half of the story. So someone was like, anime was taking off at the time in America, so they were like, hey, let's try this. So they had someone come in and try to fill it in. Supposedly this is what the anime is. I think that this is a cool world and a cool atmosphere. I think if it's written differently, and it's like a different take, I think it would be great because, you know, some of the favorite, hands down, I love vampire anime. I do. I really enjoy it. And one of my favorite vampire animes, I don't know if you've ever watched, but it's kind of popular. Most people know it. And that's Hellsong Ultimate. Like, I really enjoy that. That is one of my favorite vampire animes, next to like Castlevania and a couple other ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
I like the whole dark aspect to things where it's creepy. Like, but this was like one that like I was just looking up at one time because it's like, let's see. And I saw that and I was like, wow, if this is that bad, I have to watch it. And you know how I am. I love terrible movies. I love terrible shows sometimes, and I'll watch them and be like, dude, this is awful. I love like The Room. I am a huge fan of The Room just because of how terrible it is. But I don't expect people to be like, why are you making me watch that? I used to do that to people, be like, you have to watch it. But I've learned, I was like, man, I really have forced people to watch a crappy movie like that. That's awful.
Some people enjoy that, man. Like I enjoy that sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when you're watching it together. When you're watching it together,
exactly why I like it.
Back when COVID kind of started, me and a couple of my coworkers from work who were friends, we would get together after like work sometimes, and we would just watch like really dumb things, and we would just laugh about it. There was this system, I can never find it, but I wish I could find it. It was a website that my one friend would get on. It was called like Astronaut, and all it was a random TV. Like you basically click go, and it would randomly play YouTube videos that were only 14-second long and had no title. So it's basically like just people randomly uploading things, and we would watch it and laugh our butts off at some of the crazy things. And then like every now and then there would just be like a video of like a guy in the background just staring into like the distance, and then someone recording just be like, what is he doing here? And then it just clicks, and we're just like, we start laughing because it's like, oh my gosh, we just watched someone get like scenes seconds before they got murdered. Like it's like all that crazy stuff. And I can't it got risky. Prime's like, hey, it probably got risky as heck. Yes, 100%. When we're watching it, things got crazy. There was one where it was like a girls' volleyball game, and it was the boringest stuff in the world until like a girl got pelted in the face with a ball, and that made our whole night. But then the other night, nothing good came up, and we were just kind of sitting there just talking between ourselves because nothing good. It was a roulette, man, and that was fun to do because it's like, do we get something good? No. Do we? Oh yeah. And to get back on to Trinity Blood, right? I don't really have a lot of issues with this show, especially if people say like I like it. I'm like, fine, it's all good. But like, none of the characters really stood out to me. I didn't like the fact that they kind of roped in the whole Kane arc at the end. Estelle through the whole show felt very like useless.
Yeah, useless, very useless.
And then like the ending didn't make sense with her becoming the queen and the one other vampire joining Abel to go search for Kane. I was told by my one friend from the LARP, because he's like a big anime person and watches it. He told me, he's like, the anime cuts off, but the manga continues on.
Correct.
And I think it's because they intended for Trinity Blood to be multi-parts, but they don't. They just did like one season, called it.
Yeah.
And I think that it really suffers for that because this wasn't a good ending. I enjoyed the show earlier on where it was like a traveling priest who was actually a vampire, and that was basically it, right? And the biggest joke was basically the same thing that was done in Trigun, where he's like, I don't have a lot of money, I'm hungry all the time, will you please feed me? Like,
don't hurt me.
That was Mus.
Someone.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm secretly a badass vampire.
Who I don't kill. What about that guy over there you just massacred? I don't kill.
I promise that I won't kill because I love this girl.
Try
again.
I like Trigun. I still like Trigun, but it has a special place in my heart, and I can understand someone really liking this because it has a special place like in their childhood, and completely viable, completely okay.
Oh yeah.
But for me, like, it was a very like C-rated show. If I watched it as a kid, it would be part of my personality right now. Like, I won't lie about that. Because I very much did love cool, funny guys who are actually really strong. Cliche. That's why I love Trigun. That's why I really like Wolford in Trigun as well. I think I think the only thing I would have done as a kid is I would have like canonized in my brain that Alucard was Vash, like thousands of years later. That's would have been a thing that was canonized in my head. Like, this is actually Vash from thousands of years in the future or something dumb like that. I was an idiot. I just do all that stuff. Oh, man, none of the side characters ever stood out to me. I didn't really care for all of them. I didn't like the villain. The villain felt really dumb. Like, it was a consistent issue of like, I'm here, oh, I'm out, I'm gone, or like, oh, I just keep coming back. It's like, I watched you die. Like, I don't know, I'll just keep coming. It's done. I'm good. Make better characters, make better places. The other like fathers or whatnot, the other priests, they were kind of interesting, except for the one gun guy who was like, I'm robot. This does not compute. And, whatever. I didn't really care too much for him. But the other ones I was interested in, the one black-haired one who was like kind of goofy like, but like, I have to do it for my daughter, blah blah blah. It's like, cool, great. I like you the most of everyone, but that's not saying much. The stupidity of the idea that like Albion's like, oh, we have locked vampires down in the mines and they create our technology. I'm like, what story is this? Why is this in here? And then like five minutes later, they're like, freaking Mars, man. Like, we're from Mars. Like, I'm I'm good, man. Like, you lost me. That's too much like twists to be like, ooh, they lost me at the end there. But like I said, the first 4 episodes I thought were really good. I enjoyed the whole dynamic of it. It's when they started trying to do plot that they lost me. And that's all I gotta say, man. I got nothing else to say. I have Alucard looked cool. I mean, when he turned into the 40%, he looked cool. Yeah. Abel looked cool. When he turned 40%, he looked cool. When he turned 80%, he looked cool. I didn't understand the whole lightning thing, but like, he had lightning. And then whenever they had the final form, when he's like, I guess at 100% flying around Super Dash and whatnot, was he cool? I don't know.
He was the final form of Cell. Cell's final form.
I just don't know like what they were doing there. And then it's just like, they just fade to white. And I was like, what are you doing? I rewinded that fight scene 4 times to try to understand what happened, only to realize I understood it the first time, that they faded to white before anything was done.
Yes.
I was so like, why did I watch this? Like, it was a 20-minute episode, because they're short. They're like the short frame from the old like TV show series of 30 minutes. So they have like TV on top TV, and then they had like freaking the outros were 3 minutes long, the intros were 2 minutes long, so it was like 23 minutes long of a show. Nah, you're only getting about 15 minutes really. Like, I watched the final episode like 4 times over just because of that single scene. Like, it got me. Like, they got me. If they wanted me to do watch time, they got me. They got like an extra like hour of watch time just for me to reset. It was so confusing to me. I didn't know what the heck.
Yeah.
I was just so they got me.
Yeah. But now you've watched Trinity Blood. That's one of the ones that I was like, yeah, let's throw it at him. But next time that I do an anime and I do a vampire anime, we'll do a good vampire anime.
Speaking of good vampire, no, I'm kidding.
we're gonna do Hellsong Ultimate. I'd be so down. Yeah. Have you ever watched Hellsong Ultimate?
No. Nope.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you did.
Hellsong was not on whenever we had Adult Swim.
It was
earlier than that.
Yeah, I
because
thought it was
we
like,
got it. I maybe seen like a fragment of one episode, but Austin,
Okay.
to be fair, brother to brother and like friends of mine, I was a little baby as a kid and things scared me really easy, and Helsing probably scared me. I remember being scared of Inuyasha because the first episode with the hair demon, where like the hair would be like controlling people, that freaked me out. Like that freaked me out. I did not enjoy that. But yeah, I never watched Hellsing. I get told that I would probably like it. They say it's probably one of the best animes. I will say this. I watched an episode of Hellsing's Abridged. That's pretty good. The Abridged series is pretty good, but I don't think that's a good thing to go off of.
well, yeah, so because I remember Hellsing Ultimate was out around the time when I was living with Seth at the time, and I remember the girl that he was with actually was a huge fan of Hellsing. And
Jumpy Joe. Oh no, I have a nickname.
Well, no, I was gonna say, man, like, let's be real. I remember, like, I'll never forget the first time I ever got scared by an anime. It was Case Closed, actually. It like freaked me out. There was a scene where like they were at a mansion or something, and this guy just like comes running across this window with a head, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, you know. And
Yeah,
I remember him
that's the
coming
episode
across.
where all of the kids go up to the mansion to hang out for the time, and then they start getting killed off.
Like,
and
some guy with a bandage or something. I
Yeah,
forget.
basically they were trying to explain how like they could have killed someone in the house when they also did that, and that's whenever he's like he had a rope and he just swung it across, so that way he could kill the other person. And you thought there was someone there, but it wasn't actually someone there. It was just the head of the person. And
Yeah, that creeped me out. I
Yeah.
remember that, and I remember like having nightmares of it because I was like looking at my window. I was like, did I just see a face? And
Case
it's
Closed
like,
was
I
the
don't know.
only thing that I was never fearful of, because when I watched that show, I'm like, Conan's here. I have nothing to fear. I love Case Closed, man. Detective
yeah, no, it's
Conan.
a lot- Yeah,
I need to
like,
watch them all again. I watched all like 150 some episodes that are English dubbed.
Oh, so like I think there's like 13 seasons.
They're
of that.
so they haven't stopped in Japan. They're still
Oh,
going.
wow.
So that thing's going like 30 years. I don't know if last I checked, like 5 or 10 years ago, they were still going.
Mhm.
I
wow.
know that they put out some episodes on Netflix with the dub.
Mhm.
I just love that show. That's a great show. I love detective shows, and I think Conan was the thing that started me on that whole
Mhm.
jump. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Well, Austin, I don't got anything else to say about Trinity Blood, because we could just sit here and talk about like those classic animes for a bit, because that's what this show kind of is. It's like the verge of the classic anime,
Oh, it is.
of, like,
it's
Adult
it's like
Swim in
taking
2000.
little things out. Yeah, that's exactly what I felt like when I first watched the show after reading it. Reading that on Reddit, I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. I got to watch it because like everyone said it was like Trigun. They're
Mhm.
like, it's exactly like Trigun, and they were kind of right. Just not a great story compared to Trigun.
I mean the
So-
like box set art or whatever, where it has like I almost said Alucard, but they had Abel on it. I remember seeing that before and thought that was a Castlevania anime. I thought Trinity Blood was a Castlevania anime. Never watched it because I never had access to the stuff, and then it was never something prioritized.
Gotcha.
It's not, but I think the costume is like that thing right there, like that animation is very much Castlevania like style. The one artist who does Castlevania, that's what I thought it looked like, which is a vibe they kind of went with. Oh, one thing I will say I hate about this anime is the stupid blur effect they put on everything. There was so many times I was watching and I'm like, I need to clean my glasses because this is really foggy for some reason. Nope, they just blurred it for some reason and it was really stupid. I get it, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and just rant about a nice old 90s anime that we watched back in the day. Instead, Austin, Do you have anything you want to say left about Trinity Blood?
Not really. Like I would just have to say with Trinity Blood, there's better animes out there. I think it's worth a watch,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's like, don't take it as like this is going to be a great vampire. I think Hellsing Ultimate is, I believe, is my favorite vampire anime. It's hard though, like, because the thing is like, I wanted to really like this a lot because one, I do like vampires. I like the aspects of vampires, and I like horror anime. I like horror anime where it's creepy and scary, like Parasite and Junito, and like stuff like that. And Izumake is going to be coming out here in like, what was it, like 2 weeks? And I'm super stoked. It's a four
Yep.
series edition. I'm a huge fan of him.
Basically, it's going to finish, I think, October like 28th or whatever. It's going to be like Halloween level, right on that dot.
Because it's going to be on Adult Swim and then available on Max the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But also the trailer has came out, and I watched the trailer, and it looks, oh my gosh,
it's
so good. Because
my only issue with it
needs to be in black and white.
My only issue with it, glad they're doing black and white. I think black and white is fine. It's great. Correct. My issue is that it's being done in the like animated 3D animation shell shade thingy. That I never liked that style. So that may take me out a little bit. I would much rather have them hand drawn it like they are in like Trinity Blood, just make it black and white and Junjito, and that'd be fine. But they kind of like model the stuff instead. It's weird. I don't know how they do it, but it just very much feels like it's a 3D model of some sort. That's my only personal get. All right, Austin. Well, with that said, I'm glad you made me watch this. I'm glad I watched it. It's one of those shows that I think if I mentioned to someone, people would be like, "Oh yeah, I used to watch that as a kid." Yeah. You never finished it, did you? No. Oh, okay. You're good. Just keep it there. But awesome. We're going to watch a show now. You forced me to watch a 2000 anime film show. And the second I looked at the animation, it instantly made me think of this show and movie. It has a movie first, then the show came later. I watched the movie only and then found out like 10 years later that they had a TV show of it. And I remember not 10 years later. It was like maybe like 3 years later they had a TV show, because I remember they would air the TV show on G4 TV at like 2 a.m. and I would record them, and I only got to see like 3 episodes of them, and everything else was really good. I liked the show. I'm pretty positive there's a vampire in the movie. So great transition there, Austin. You're gonna feel right at home with these cheesy anime things. Yeah. So you have to watch the movie first. I will say that first. Movie first. And you will also probably just watch the movie, understand why I'm obsessed with it, because there will be a song that will be stuck in your head. I guarantee it. And when I want you to come at this with the level of interest and joy in the form of a whimsical action show. Think the best way I can describe it is come at it in the form of like what people come at things like Metal Gear Solid, you know? Like, is there espionage? Is there like tactical fighting? Yes. Is there also a bee man who shoots bees out of his hands and a guy named Psycho Mantis who controls like people's technology? Yes. That's how Metal Gear Solid is, Austin.
Yeah. Okay.
Metal Gear Solid has like the real, like the like down to earth stuff, and then they have like the crazy guy who's like, I'm an old guy who photosynthesizes. This is right up the alley of Metal Gear Solid with a little bit of a more anime kind of twist. Come at it how you want to. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I very much just want to watch it again. I love the movie. I don't think I've ever completed the TV show fully because I never had access to it. I'm so ready for this. I'm ready to force you to do this. You forced me on Trinity Blood. I'm forcing you on this, baby. Get ready for read or die, Austin. You gotta read it or you're gonna die.
Oh, you're gonna die. Oh man, this is gonna be good.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, Austin. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Bros and Shows. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. And thank you all so much for stopping by. And thank you all so much for tuning in.